Hi everyone. Today I wanted to talk about a subject that's pretty difficult. It might be pretty tricky and it's a bit decadent even. And this subject is whether to go on pursuing a career in the arts or not. Can you leave a career in the arts? Or should you stay if you have chosen that path? This is a question that unfortunately many artists have had to face because of the pandemic. But in this video I am going to talk more about kind of a career crisis type of situation where you might be asking this question yourself. The force majeure kinds of situations are another kind of a question, because there something makes you choose. But all of us, even the artists, might face a regular, normal career crisis on their path. And back then, in 2019, when I was transitioning from my arts career into the direction of coaching, I wrote down 8 points that I figured out that kind of sum up the steps, the considerations that I found and still find very important to make before taking any kinds of steps or making any kinds of final decisions. So let me look at my notes a little bit. I'm sorry, I will have to look down on my notes somewhat because there are 8 points and a lot of things I would like to tell you today. The first, and I would say the most important point, the point number 1, know yourself. Stepping into considering the matter in the first place should be like stepping into maybe you know this story of the temple of the Delphi oracle, where it says up there, know thyself. I had worked in the arts business in thousands of roles, well, a little bit under, but anyway, in many, many different roles for almost 20 years. And I had lived for the arts, especially for opera. And I had really identified myself with everything that had to do with the arts. Back in 2017, when we moved to Germany with my family, because my husband had a job here, I had the kind of an opportunity to take a look back and consider if the choices I had made were the real ones. And as it turned out, yes, partly, but I found something in me that I had lived for even longer than for the arts. And that was kind of the mystery of human life, the stories of us, just the human psychology, why we do things like we do them, and how do we function as human beings. And as the arts is, of course, a terrific way of researching that, it's kind of just one way of looking at it. And in any case, what I had been doing in the arts field was PR, production, administration, a little bit of singing, but mainly other sorts of things. So I was kind of dancing around it in any case. Then I did some very disciplined study on myself and found out that, this is really something, there is a theme for me, for my career, that hasn't got anything to do with the arts. Art kind of fits into it, yes, but it doesn't have to do with only the arts. Philosophy, psychology, the human life, like I said, working with people, getting to know their stories, that was kind of what I wanted to do, and there are many forms I can express this side of myself. So that's how I found coaching, and now I'm a happy coach. So with my story, I want to say giving up an arts career should actually not be giving up anything. There should always be something you get on the place of the arts. Get something else so appealing to you that it can seriously compete with the arts in the first place. Like, you should upgrade, not downgrade. Because if you downgrade, if you give up, if you have this sort of feeling of giving up, that will lead to resentment, to bitterness, and that's not a good place to be in. Then you will probably just think that you have made the wrong decision. Okay, so that was the important point number 1. Point number 2 is do not give up creative self-expression. If you have been working in the arts in the first place, you probably have a strong need for creative self-expression. If not, then you probably shouldn't have been working in the arts in the first place. Like I just said, giving up a career in the arts should not be kind of giving up anything. And it shouldn't and it mustn't mean that you have to give up your art at all. If you can't or you don't want to do your original art form anymore, maybe you could have something else at this point that you can continue doing, even if you won't be doing it as your day job anymore. If not, go back to the part 1, know thyself. And what comes to your other career, it should be an equal form of your creative self-expression as the arts was. Don't distract yourself from your arts passion with something else. That's not a good strategy. Figure out something you feel as passionate about as about the arts. For example, for me, this other form of creative self-expression is the examining of us humans and our life stories through psychology and philosophy. And it's making these videos, it's writing my blog and things like that. And I am still doing my art. There are wonderful opportunities here in Germany to work as an artist semi-professionally. So that's what I'm doing now. I am on stage, I am singing, I'm taking lessons, just not as my day job anymore. Okay, then we'll come to point number 3. Do not listen to anyone telling you to give up an arts career. You're on your own here, sorry. There are many artists who have been put down by public, by arts critics, whoever, and they're still making their art. To listen to anyone else in this matter is giving up. It will probably lead you feeling hungry, disappointed, and resentful. But not to be too hard on you though. No one else needs support, pushing forward, good feedback from other people like an artist who is revealing their soul naked to the world in one sense. That's a lonely and a scary path, I have to say. And you really need to be made out of steel if you don't need support from anyone else on your path. When I think about my singing, even though that never was the main part of my arts career, I had both support and critique. Critique came mostly from myself, but yes, from outside people too. And I tried giving up after such a critique. But that left me hurt and disappointed and hungry for revenge, hungry for more. You have to walk your path until the end. The end might be retirement after a long career, or the end might be right now when you're making a career transition. Whatever it means for you. I chose another path because I saw something very exciting along that one. Okay, point number 4. There is no common sense behind your decision. This point is kind of short. You are leaving your career in the arts either based on fear or based on love. My experience is that the kind of reasonable justifications are us basing our decisions on fear. Justify your decision with your heart and with love for something else, and with decision and a promise to take care of your love for the arts in the future as well. Point number 5. Remember that you might be a Renaissance man or a woman or something else. They didn't cease to exist in the 16th century. There are a lot of artists who are excellent at one thing. Maybe they're master violin player or master opera singer, master painter, whatever. But what if you are one of those who are great in many things? Maybe in addition to your art, you are great in another form of art, or maybe you have a generally creative mind. Maybe you are excellent in building beautiful homes, or you have a scientific mind, whatever. Or maybe you are a catwoman like me, not the kind who has a terrifying amount of cats in their house, but the one who wants to live nine lives. I mean, life is just too interesting, isn't it? I at least want to experience how to be a wife, a mother, a housewife, a businesswoman, a lover, a singer, a producer, a journalist, what else? Well, you get the point. There are many things to be experienced in this life, and you don't have to limit yourself to one of them. Some say we get more than just one lifetime, but who knows? It might be only this one, and if it's that way, there is something to be experienced, I would say. Some of us are just born with this restlessness, and maybe that drove us to the arts in the first place, who knows? If you have this, it's okay. Experience your 9 lives in one lifetime if you want to. Number 6, remember that it's okay to leave your arts career behind. People change career all the time, but somehow the arts is the only career where people don't really want to hear about career change. I don't know why that is. I think people think of an arts career as a passion, as a calling, something you are born to do. But it's not always like that, and that's okay. Every person is born creative, but creativity is one of those things that shouldn't be put in a box. It has many forms of expressing itself in us humans. It's okay to let your creativity flow in other directions as well. Go ahead. After I started to get some real-life results on my career change, there were days and there still are, I have to admit, where I was thinking, oh, what did I give up? I heard some music and I felt a sting in my heart and realized I'm not spending my everyday life surrounded by this anymore. And that, I have to admit, was a sad feeling and is a sad feeling sometimes. But then when I think back when I was surrounded by it every day, well, it was work, it wasn't rest. A concert pretty much always meant some kind of work. And well, I wasn't really only making art, as I said, I was producing, I was being a journalist, I was counting budgets, doing marketing, whatever. And I didn't really want to even listen to music when I got home from work. So, no, I'm not surrounded by it anymore every day. But when I want to be surrounded by it, it's always there for me. And now I can let it be rest and not work. Back then, when I was doing my career transition, I noticed something pretty interesting. People who didn't know me that well and who heard about my career transition seemed not to be that excited for me. But then the people who really know me well, when they heard about my new plans, they were beyond excited. Because they know me very well, they knew that this, what I had chosen as my new path, was something that was made for me. It was just so right for me that they couldn't have been sad about me leaving my arts career behind. Pay attention. People don't want to hear that a person who has been on an arts career path is leaving it. It's just like that, but you know what? How people feel about your decisions isn't your problem. It's none of your concern. So just do whatever you want, what feels right for you. Number 7, priorities change. People, arts people as well, they get to know themselves better, their life situations change, they change as human beings. Art is important, but let me tell you a secret. There are other things in life as important or even more important than the arts. Us arts people are the only ones who seem to forget it at times. Like a friend of mine, I can remember back then, she's an artist to the core. But then a couple of years ago, she got pregnant and had a child. And she said to me, you know, Laura, suddenly it doesn't seem so important to perfect a role of some slut, Carmen, and perform it on a random street market somewhere. She's still an artist, but she switched her focus on it and got some other things in addition to the arts in her life. And yeah, that's just what happens in life. Priorities change, situations change, and something that was so important for us may not be that anymore when we reach a certain point in our lives. And the last point, number 8, in the end, it all comes together. You might have heard that nothing you have done in your life has been in vain. And maybe it's a bit of a cliche, but it's true. Clichés have their roots in truth, oftentimes. Your artistic career will always be an incredible asset in your life, in anything you want to pursue. I have already seen that my career move has been just a variation of the same theme, the theme that I mentioned already a couple of times in this video. After I made my decision and I took some steps towards my new direction, life took some steps towards me. So it's amazing. I see it time and again, also in my coachings, when a person has clarity on what they want, and that clarity is rooted in deep self-knowledge. When they have a goal in their mind and they take their first steps, even small ones, towards the new direction, even miracles can happen. I mean, they seem like miracles. Maybe it's just that you have been open for new possibilities. I don't know, but sometimes they really seem like small miracles. Things start happening around you. With this, I want to say nothing has been in vain. You haven't made bad life choices. You haven't made mistakes. With new clarity come new opportunities, and you will find a new path to follow as long as you gain some clarity before that. I hope this video brought you some perspectives and some aspects to think about if you are at a point where you are considering whether to go on or not. At the end, I just want to say, whatever you do, enjoy what you're doing, be joyful at what you're doing, and do good in this world with your work. See you in my next video.